What's up, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of my mindfulness series. We'll be talking about nutrition today. I will be sharing my experience and my relationship with nutrition and food, why I eat the way I do, what tools I use to reflect on what's best for my body, and I want to encourage you guys to find what's best for your body because we are all different. What works for me might not work for you. So we're going to discuss a few different factors that play a big part in what we should choose for ourselves. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat. I am, first of all, not a registered dietitian, so that is outside of my scope of practice as a trainer. Now, I do have a great knowledge in nutrition and I practice what I preach. I'm gonna just run through the tools that I've used through my life and what I use right now to feel like I am providing my body with the best foods that it needs to feel healthy and to perform in the gym, perform in the everyday life, and make me feel happy. If I get the question, what is nutrition to me? I always say mindful eating. And what does that mean? To me, it means that you're actually mindful of how your body is responding to all the different foods. There are a lot of diets out there. There is a lot of information, and I think the biggest mistake that we do, that I've done as well, is we kind of believe that just because it works for someone, it will work for us. I also think there's a lot of focus on the physical aspect, on how can food make me look a certain way, how can it make me look leaner, how can it make me gain more muscle, how can it make me lose weight. And yes, nutrition plays a big part in, if you want to reach a certain goal, your nutrition has to be on point. It is an important discussion, but sometimes I think it takes away focus from what's truly important. So how do we know what works for me and not? I think the number one thing is to be really in tune with your body, to pay attention how you respond to certain foods. I think the most important thing is for us to ask questions. Does it make me feel good? And I'm not talking about the obvious, if I eat a chocolate cake, it'll make me feel great and happy, but does it make me feel bloated? Do I get stomach pain? What's the long-term effects of eating a chocolate cake every day? You know, growing up in Sweden, I ate basically anything that I wanted. Everything is home cooked. We don't eat a lot of fried things. Obviously, I ate, sweets and all that growing up. My biggest change was after high school, and I had traveled in Australia for 3 months. I drank every day. I ate a lot of fast food, and I came home and my gut was just not having it anymore. And I had to change something in my diet, and I didn't know what exactly. So I started experimenting. I tried the whole elimination diet thing where I took away things and analyzed how that made my body feel. All of a sudden I was lactose intolerant, so I couldn't have dairy unless it was lactose free. I cut out sugar because it wasn't making me feel good. I cut out alcohol because that obviously doesn't make us feel good either. Now, the second biggest change for me was coming to America, where I stopped eating red meat and pork, basically because I was more aware of the antibiotics and things they put in meats here that I wasn't used to back in Sweden. And I know there's good meats out here, but as a student coming out here, my budget didn't really go towards the fancy meats, so I cut it out and it made me feel better. My digestion improved. I want to say that I don't like to label myself. I don't label myself as vegan, vegetarian, anything special. I just don't eat certain things. And I base that on how it makes my body feel. For me, why I call it mindful eating is because I think a lot of the times the bigger problem is that we don't look at it from a bigger perspective. Food is medicine. if we eat things that are not good for us, it's gonna make us feel shitty. That's just the way it is. There is a discussion out there that says there's no unhealthy or healthy foods. It's like everything in moderation, and I don't believe that that is true. There is unhealthy food. There's ultra processed foods out there that we are not supposed to eat. Now, processed foods is anything that's cooked. If you're cooking your food, it's processed. So ultra processed means that it's so processed that it's not in its original form. If it's whole foods, yes, that's not unhealthy, but that's not where the problem is. It is sugar. It is high fructose corn syrup, which by the way is not a thing in Sweden. It doesn't even exist. A lot of additives in foods that are not supposed to be there. I always say if you read a nutrition label and you don't know what a certain thing is, then don't eat it. Why would you want to put something in your body that you don't know what it is? The ultra processed foods and sugar and alcohol, it alters the body's own process of detoxification. So there's a lot of toxins in these products. It can cause inflammation and health-related diseases. Now, I will never tell you to never eat processed foods or sugar or alcohol ever again. I eat sugar sometimes. I have a glass of wine sometimes. Then it's also important to realize that there are healthy foods that my body might not be able to handle, but your body is. So for example, all of a sudden, I couldn't eat garlic. I get stomach pain, I get super bloated if I eat garlic. Garlic is super healthy. Just because I don't eat it doesn't mean you shouldn't. That is what I mean with knowing your body. There are a lot of food sensitivity tests out there that you can take, and those are all good. I know they're pricey, but those are good tools if you want to figure out what you're sensitive to. Also, I think it's super important that we just practice on being present with our bodies and being in tune and see how they feel and respond to food. I think it's important that we realize there are different kind of happiness connected to food. There is a soul happiness when we eat a chocolate cake or whatever it might be that you really love to eat. That makes us feel good in our soul. However, that also comes back to a triggering in our brain. It's a reward system that makes us feel this good. Then there's the other side of it, which is the happiness in our body. Now, 70% of our immune system is actually in our gut. Bad mood, depression, anxiety, that is connected to our gut health. That is why I believe that you can have 10% of soul happiness if your priority the most of the time is that your body and your gut is happy and healthy. I don't believe in diets, and I especially don't believe in diets that are eliminating things from it completely, unless it's because your body is responding negatively from it. Just because it's a trend to do keto and people are losing weight from keto, it does not mean that that's a good option for you. Now, the distribution of the macros are different person to person. Depends on your body and your goal at the moment. To me, a diet is never a long-term sustainable thing. I think they can be great tools to try around what works for you. You may reach your certain goal from it, but realistically, it's not a long-term sustainable way of eating. I believe that everyone can be in tune with their body and learn about their body enough to know what it responds good and bad to. We all have that power inside of us to listen to our bodies. Even though my main focus with this is not talking about weight gain and weight loss, I do want to emphasize that there are so many different factors that also plays a big part in why you might not reach your goal. If you're working out, if you're eating healthy, you're still not seeing the progress that you want, there's one thing that will always play a bigger part on your health than you think, and that is stress. There were times when I was extremely stressed, and there are still times where I get very stressed, and it could not matter if I ate lettuce or if I had a pizza, I will still get bloated. I would still have gut issues because stress attacks your gut as well. Again, back to your mind and how important it is. If you're stressed, if you're having negative thoughts, especially if you're having negative thoughts about your own body and your food, if your mindset is always, I'm never gonna reach my goal, I hate the way I look, no matter what I eat, it doesn't work. These are all negative thoughts that will affect your progress and affect your health. If we have a negative relationship with foods, it doesn't really matter that we're super healthy, right? If we're not loving ourselves and if we are not fueling our body with healthy foods because we love it, we need to kind of figure out why we're actually doing it. We should never eat healthy or eat in a certain way because we want to punish ourselves. I eat healthy because I like it and I love myself and I want to provide my body with all the good things that it needs. I always make it about the why we eat the way we do, why we work out, why we do anything in life. The why is so important, and I really think it's important that it comes from a place of love. Another thing I want to talk about, because I know I'm not alone in this, and I want you to know that you're not alone in this, is IBS. Irritable bowel syndrome. I developed this after my trip to Australia 10 years ago. I talked about bloating. I was constantly bloated no matter what I ate. And I know the feeling of how discouraging it might feel that, well, I'm eating all these vegetables, I'm eating this salad, and I am still super bloated. It's not fun. And again, coming back to the source of the problem, asking yourself questions, analyzing how your body responds to different things. Some things that really worked for me was to eating more frequently throughout the day, smaller meals, so not only three really heavy meals, but 5 to 6 smaller meal snacks. I cut out red meat and pork. I cut out most dairy, sugar, alcohol. Look at your fiber intake. Some people needs higher fiber because that helps with the IBS. I, on the other hand, can't handle fiber very well, so I lowered my intake. Again, 2 people with IBS can have 2 different solutions to things. I also cut out gluten. A lot of gluten-free options out there today. What I recommend is that try to pick a clean alternative. There are a lot of ultra-processed gluten-free options out there that are not that great. There are added 10 more ingredients because it's gluten-free, so please pay attention to that. And let's talk about supplements. Now, supplements should never be instead of a meal, instead of healthy, nutritious foods. It can be in addition to eating a nutritious, balanced diet. I get a lot of questions what supplements I take. I always take my probiotics, and that has helped me a lot with my bloating and gut issues, so I can definitely recommend that. I take pre-workout. I love coffee. I respond good to caffeine, so I enjoy it. I have coffee or I have Celsius before I work out because it gives me that extra energy. I also take reds and greens and multivitamins. Some days I might not eat as much greens and vegetables as I want, so this is a great addition to that. Post-workout, I try to get my protein in within 30 minutes after, then I eat a meal around an hour after when I get home. Vita Hustle is the brand that I use. I use it as a shake after my workout, as a snack in between meals. I make protein pancakes. The protein powder is an extra source of protein that you can use in your diet. These are little things that are more performance related, how I can perform better in the gym. Then 2, it's important to realize what kind of foods make me sluggish, make me lose more energy or get those insulin spikes and lows that will make me not perform as well in the gym. So my biggest tips are, again, try to pay attention how your body responds to food. Try to go for as clean as possible, protein, vegetables, whatever works for you there, and then try to stay away from the ultra-processed foods. Try to stay away from sugar, try to stay away from alcohol. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to restrict yourself completely from it. Make it sustainable for you. But I think we need to ask ourselves questions of why we eat certain things. It could be as simple as it's been in our diet for our whole lives and we've never questioned it. It's a habit, it's a part of us, it's whatever it might be, cultural. But if it doesn't make you feel good or it has an impact on your health in a negative way, it could be time to maybe reassess the way that you're eating. I know it is difficult with all the information out there, what to eat, what not to eat. There are a lot of great professionals out there, dietitians, that you can ask for help when it comes to this. But I do really encourage you to learn about your body, and we can do that on our own. It took a long time for me to figure a lot of things out, which is why I want to provide you guys with the tools that I was never taught. But it's pretty amazing when you learn about your own body and how it responds to all the external factors in life, not only what we eat. Remember, our diet is not only the foods that we eat, it is the environment, the people that we hang out with. Pay attention to everything. Be protective of your body and mind and soul, and there are so many things that play part in how we feel. Nutrition is super, super important. But like I said, there's stress, there's sleep, there's hormones. There's so many different things that play a part. So just because something is not working for us, we need to look at the bigger picture. I really hope that you found some of this information useful. If you have any more questions about nutrition, mindful eating, please reach out to me at any time. My DMs are always open for you guys to ask questions. And I will see you guys in the next episode.